I remembered the two-headed green-aproned barista who had scowled at us on the Via Pretoria. I wondered why he would have been kind enough to give us lodging, and why, of all places, the Legion had decided to put us here. Why exactly?
Lemurian spice, Meg said. Bombilo had the nearest supply. The healers needed it for your wound.
She shrugged like, healers, what can you do? Then she went back to planting iris bulbs. I sniffed at my bandages. One of the scents I detected was indeed Lemurian spice. Effective stuff against the undead, though the Lemurian festival wasn't until June, and it was barely April. Ah, no wonder we ended up in a coffee shop. Every year, retailers seem to start Lemurian season earlier and earlier. Lemurian spice lattes, Lemurian spice muffins, as if we couldn't wait to celebrate the season of exorcising evil spirits with pastries that tasted faintly of lima beans and grave dust. Yum. What else did I smell in that healing balm? Crocus myrrh? Unicorn horn shavings? Oh, these Roman healers were good. Then why didn't I feel better?
They didn't want to move you too many times,
Meg said.
so we kind of stayed here. It's okay. Bathrooms downstairs and free coffee.
You don't drink coffee.
I do now.
I shuddered. Caffeinated Meg, just what we need. How long have I been out?
A day and a half.
What?
You needed sleep. Also, you're less annoying unconscious.
I didn't have the energy for a proper retort. I rubbed the gunk out of my eyes, then forced myself to sit up, fighting down the pain and nausea. Meg studied me with concern, which must have meant I looked even worse than I felt.
How bad?
She asked. I'm okay, I lied. What did you mean earlier when you said, you too? Her expression closed up like a hurricane shutter.
Nightmares. I woke up screaming a couple times. You slept through it, but
She picked a cloud of dirt off of her trowel.
this place reminds me of, you know.
I regretted I hadn't thought about that sooner. After Meg's experience growing up in Nero's imperial household, surrounded by Latin-speaking servants and guards in Roman armor, purple banners, all the regalia of the old empire, of course Camp Jupiter must have triggered unwelcome memories. I'm sorry, I said. Did you dream anything I should know about?
The usual.
Her tone made it clear she did not want to elaborate.
What about you?
I thought about my dream of the two emperors sailing leisurely in our direction, drinking cherry-garnished mocktails while their troops rushed to assemble secret weapons they'd ordered from IKEA. Our deceased ally, Plan B, 5 days. I saw those burning purple eyes in a chamber filled with the undead. The king's dead. The usual, I agreed. Help me up. It hurt to stand. But if I'd been lying in that cot for a day and a half, I wanted to move before my muscles turned into tapioca. Also, I was beginning to realize I was hungry and thirsty and, in the immortal words of Meg McCaffrey, I needed to pee. Human bodies are annoying that way. I braced myself against the windowsill and peered outside. Below, demigods bustled along the Via Pretoria, carrying supplies, reporting for duty assignments, hurrying between the barracks and the mess hall. The pall of shock and grief seemed to have faded. Now everyone looked busy and determined. Craning my head and looking south, I could see Temple Hill abuzz with activity. Siege engines had been converted into cranes and earth movers. Scaffolds had been erected in a dozen different locations. The sounds of hammering and stone cutting echoed across the valley. From my vantage point, I could identify at least 10 new small shrines and 2 large temples that had not been there when we arrived, and more were in the works. Wow, I murmured. Those Romans don't mess around.